Christ's Letters. Continuation of letter number 5. Man's inbuilt impulse to protect his own individuality had made him set up rules and laws for human society. The universal creative power, love, had absolutely nothing to do with the setting up of human restrictions, limitations, laws, and judgment. I also saw that the father mother creative power, life, continually flowed through all the universe and was the life in my mind using the twin impulses of thought and feeling. Hence, any powerful imperfect thinking and feeling could disturb and change the consciousness pattern of created things. Conversely, my thinking when fully cleansed of the twin impulses of ego and fully receptive of the father, mother, creative power, intelligence, love, would reintroduce the condition of perfect intelligent love. Therefore, a condition previously made imperfect as a result of imperfect thought could be brought back into a condition of wholeness again by changing ego attitudes and thoughts to those of unconditional love. My mind was a tool of the whole creative process originating in the universal. Now that I knew this was so, knew it spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, I realized I could and must take steps to overcome the twin impulses of ego previously governing my mind in order to allow the divine reality full scope through my mind and brain. This is why there was a struggle between my humanly entrenched ego and my father mother consciousness during the very strident temptations I experienced at the end of my enlightenment in the desert. Satan had nothing to do with the tug of war which took place within my consciousness. The war was waged between the twin impulses of individuality, bonding rejection, and the divine reality which had made itself known to me as intelligent love life, transcendent yet within me, and which would gradually take over my individuality to an ever greater extent if I continually meditated and cleared my consciousness of selfish impulses. The foregoing is a description of the powerful knowledge I returned to Nazareth with. Therefore, my physically healing time spent with my mother whilst she nursed me back to health was also a time of prayer and meditation, from which I drew the inspiration and strength to consciously and conscientiously live the nature of the divine or universal reality. As you know, the nature of the divine or universal reality is life. When it is active within creation, or we can also say within the individuality of creation, it grows, nourishes, provides nutrition, regenerates, heals, protects, ensures survival, fulfills the needs of everything created, all within a system of perfect harmony, cooperation, and law and order. This is the nature of life. All its work in creation is done in accordance with universal nature, the promotion of the highest good of all living things. If you can understand these words, you will realize why I returned from the desert, a man filled with joy, with a new awareness of the beauty of the world, a feeling of absolute confidence, and knowing it was possible to control the appearance of matter. you will feel with me my own elation that I could now offer the Jews the glorious news that the kingdom of heaven was in their midst. All they had to do was find it with my assistance, and their lives would be changed forever. I leave you with the same knowledge which, prayerfully used and fully understood, can change the course of your life. As you read, your consciousness will be lifted, and as you seek inspiration, it will come to you. I long for you to understand, aspire, grow, and achieve. Relax in my light, for whilst you read, reflect, meditate, and pray, you are drawn into my Christ consciousness, which will become ever more apparent to you as you evolve within this divine knowledge. My love and faith in your growing wisdom enfold you. Christ's Letter 6, originally numbered 4.V. This letter is a continuation of the topics in Letter 5, where Christ begins to explain the true processes of creation. He touches on what science and religious doctrines have believed, rejects them, and defines the truth of being. He touches on the truth regarding the human ego, the means of earthly individuality and therefore necessary, but also the source of all suffering. Number 1. Your highest spiritual goal. These letters present knowledge which people down the ages have longed to know, but have not received, since their worldly scientific knowledge was not sufficient to enable them to understand. So was it when I was in Palestine in the person of Jesus. Again and again I explained the truth of universal existence in various ways, but no one understood. As most of you realize, I have not come to you at this time to bring you a new religion, a better moral code, or a new God to worship. Nor, like your metaphysicians, do I preach positive thinking. Your humanly conceived positive thinking, magnetizing to yourselves your human needs and desires, and the means to fulfill your ambitions, only strengthens your ego drive. All things, blessed and bountiful, will be manifested in you and your life as and when you realize that the entire universe is transcendent universal consciousness made visible when it takes on material form through the activity of the ego. Your true purpose in your spiritual journey is to break free of the bondage of the ego and make ever more pure contact with divine consciousness. It is your eventual destiny to recognize its omnipresence both within yourself and throughout your daily activities. Your highest spiritual goal is to come to that spiritually exalted moment when you finally realize that your human mind and its desires are only finite, and therefore can never bring you the happiness and fulfillment you will experience when you lay down your selfhood and come to divine consciousness, asking only for the higher way, more abundant life, and the true spiritual purpose which you alone can accomplish in your earthly state. However, to help you reach this high point of realization, I am about to enlarge on the origins and function of the ego. As I contemplate your world, I see a dimension presently controlled by ego force. Every evil thing in your present decadent society, in your vast soulless cities, arises out of ego force. It is the source of every wicked, lying, perverted activity presently in operation on your planet. It controls the media, your TV, your families, nations. It is productive of wars all over your globe. It creates a foul miasma of low consciousness energies perceivable by higher spiritual entities but too horrible to contemplate. If your present consciousness is permeated with love of possessions and an inability to share with others, devising ways and means to become rich at the expense of others, stealing, failing to perform your work conscientiously or give good value for money, snapping, snarling, indulging in criticism, sarcasm, judgmentalism, rejection, denigration, enmity, intolerance, hatred, jealousy, aggression, violent impulses, thieving, falsehoods, double and devious dealings, slander. You are ego driven. Your ego is in control, and you will find it difficult to move through the miasma of ego consciousness to be able to see reality. For this reason, I have come through the medium of these letters to help you understand exactly what is binding you down in your present conditions, the horror of which was unimaginable by the human mind a century ago. Number 2. Ego. I am now about to explain more fully the ego. At the time of your conception, during intercourse, as your father's consciousness rose via his spine ever higher to the top of his head and tension mounted towards its climax, your father's consciousness briefly touched divine consciousness, creating a flashpoint, a small explosion, which he experienced as orgasm, and therefore an injection of divine consciousness was infused in his semen to give life to the mother's ovum. The moment of union with woman and explosion of tension in a man at the time of orgasm reenacts the time of the Big Bang, when the unity of father-mother consciousness exploded into separate energies and the first electrical particles and random matter took form. Father consciousness provided the energy of activity and momentum, and mother consciousness provided the bonding to give form and substance to the electrical particles. These are primal impulses which give life and form to man and woman. I want you to understand that creation is not a creation of matter imbued with consciousness. Creation is the visible form of primal impulses drawn and banded into individual shapes and entities, all expressing differing facets and combinations of the primal impulses in a myriad of ways. Therefore, the primal impulses are the reality which your eyes, ears, smell, touch tell you are solid matter, but are really consciousness impulses individualized in order to be experienced, intellectually understood, and appreciated emotionally. At the time of conception, when semen unites with ovum and a mating takes place, male consciousness chromosomes bond with female consciousness chromosomes. This is a physical union of your father's own consciousness of semen and mother's own consciousness of ovum, powered by the divine. Thus, do the male and female consciousness chromosomes carry the imprint of genetic DNA from both parents. The moment of physical union of semen and ovum is conducted on two levels of creativity. The injection of divine consciousness became your soul, embodied within the human consciousness union of semen and ovum. Physicality was created, powered by father-mother life consciousness, which controlled the activity and bonding of conscious cells, producing the gradual growth and development of your physical body, which is really consciousness made visible on every level of your being, and nothing else. This is it for today. Thank you. I love you. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye.